Therefore, I'm asking for you to strengthen the laws surrounding the security of our ballots. This is the fundamental basic building block of our entire republic. And if we cannot trust that the elections are fair and safe, then where are we? I mean, why have campaigns? Why raise money? Why get people out there to volunteer if we can't be assured that these elections are fair? So please strengthen the rules surrounding the access and control. I think you should suggest and mandate some cameras in every county elections office so that we can all, in the public record, ask for those and in counties correctly.
My name is Ruth Bendel. I'm the Voter Integrity Chair for the Republican Party. I'm here with regard to Section 4 of HB 2256. I do observe regularly at various county elections offices, and I have a severe problem with the elimination of the requirement to destroy unused ballots on after 8 p.m. on election day. If you go to a number of election offices, activities go all over the place, and there are extra people hired to deal with the ballots. And also by election day, a lot of the people, the election board people, have a pretty good idea which way the election is going for candidates and issues. You're sitting there going through ballots, and the opportunity is there when you've got unused ballots on the premises for ballots to be switched. I am not accusing anybody, but there was the whole purpose of that statute 254.483 for the destruction of unused ballots. There are thousands of unused ballots that arrive over the course of the week from undeliverable ballots, in part because the post office notifications to the elections office that, not always followed through on a weekly basis, so ballots go to the wrong place. I can understand utilizing the ballot for that person that's been returned as undeliverable to resend that ballot to the correct address, right, if the person has updated. But in terms of duplicating ballots, that either for the vision impaired, which are large ballots that will not go through the machine, or because somebody has spilt coffee over the ballot or the dog has chewed the ballot. I have two options to offer you right here and now. There should be a different colored ballot, duplicate ballot, so that the ballots, the unused ballots, can be destroyed, and those duplicate ballots can be used then with security to duplicate those ballots, because then the ballot that is being duplicated has to be retained. But to have thousands of unused ballots, whether they are from undeliverable ballots or whether they are just surplus ballots sitting there, and an opportunity is there. I am not accusing any single person of exploiting that opportunity, but as Voter Integrity Chair, I do not want opportunities to be there. And I didn't like the fact that it was somebody spotting that elimination of unused ballots in this particular bill that was brought to my attention, thank you, and so that I could come here and testify against that elimination. We used to hand count ballots years ago, and as far as I'm concerned, if you don't want to duplicate the ballots, and if you can already read a ballot to duplicate it, it wouldn't hurt to have a sheet, a record made for reconciliation purposes so that the ballot doesn't have to go through the machine. But please do not eliminate that provision of destroying unused ballots. I wish to end by saying that I support the concerns that are being raised by Janice Dysinger regarding other provisions in this bill.
Yes, I'm Janice Dysinger, and I'm the Voter Integrity Chair for Multnomah County Republican. Cycle, we put in over 800 hours of volunteer time. Nobody paid any of us anything. It's all volunteer just because we're concerned citizens in our county. My concern is with the process, and I think that it should be verifiable process so that we don't have a lack of confidence in our elections process. I'm just totally focused on the process and the verification. Specifically, that I always thought the statute should triumph administrative rule. On the unused ballots that were present in the elections office when I came in 2008, I asked when they would be destroyed, and I was told they are not going to be destroyed on election night. And I brought this before the county county commissioners, and it went to no avail. After the election and the recount was done this last election cycle, we got permission to count the ballots, and we found there were over 37,000 unused ballots that did not include the ballots that were returned to the office that were undeliverable. These were just unused ballots. And I want you to tell the zealousness with which these workers got together. We got 2-hour notice on December 20th, and we got 7 people to still come in and count them. Is how can you know how many ballots are there if you don't count them? And there was not a count of these ballots that we could determine at anywhere. During the process of the ballots being duplicated, I noticed during the military count, the workers would just go over to the bin and pick up the ballot and bring it back over. I saw one duplicate ballot. Some of the military ballots are faxed in and they have to be duplicated. So if the worker made a mistake, so she just went over to the bin and got another ballot, brought it back over, and she destroyed the one she had made the mistake on. She did it properly. I did not see a log being kept anywhere. That's the reason I'm telling you that. I did not see a log, and I believe the administrative rule said there should be a log kept. If you determine to not destroy these, there should be a very detailed log made of all of the ballots that are not used so that people can come in and see that these ballots are being accounted for properly. The elections officers were only required to know where the ballots were in the building, not the actual number. We were told that these extra ballots were needed so that the voter intent could be determined. If there was a mistake made on the ballot, that they would be examined, the ballot could be counted correctly. Let the voters be the one that decide their intent by the way they mark their ballot instead of how someone interpreted it. There was a lot of confidence that many of us felt that was lacking in the elections process because these ballots were not destroyed on election night. The second problem, we found that the ballot boxes were not signed because there were no signatures on here. We had no way of really verifying that this box had not been tampered with. Now, I'm not accusing anybody, but we couldn't verify, and I'm looking for verification process. We also found extra seals stored right next to the ballot. Extra seals were kept in the room, in the red room, where the ballot boxes were stored. And we were told there were extra boxes downstairs. So that didn't lend itself to having more confidence in the process, but less. When the recount was going on, the count was called for on the 2nd, and on the 3rd, the shredding company came to the elections office to shred the documents. And they were told that, they reported to me that they were told they couldn't proceed with the shredding because a recount had been called. And that, again, caused more concern. There were ballots being retained during a recount rather than being destroyed because the election had been certified quite some days earlier. The process would allow for that when the statute clearly states that they shall be destroyed. It doesn't say maybe, it says shall be. And no matter what the administrative rules say, the statutes say otherwise. We can't pick and choose which statutes we uphold. And while the elections division would not allow for an additional precinct to be added to the recount, because they said the law said they couldn't alter the 258.181, that nothing could be added to the recount. They were very adamant, and I think that a precinct could have been added from the way I read the statute, but they said no, that it could not be. You show that the process is verifiable, that observers can see that an integrity has been maintained.
Lisa Michaels, I was the volunteer campaign manager for congressional candidate Delia Lopez, who ran in the 3rd Congressional District against Earl Blumenauer. And we were the ones who called for the recount. We called for it on Thursday, I believe the 2nd of December, around at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I have since done a public records request for the record of the logs, entry and exit logs throughout the office. And there was a great deal of activity the following morning, which perplexes me. From my understanding, the reason we wanted to do the recount was we wanted to just simply take the ballots out of the precinct boxes, and observe them pulling them out, and recount them. To my understanding, there should have been no need to prep them, no need to go through them, no need to count them, no need to make sure that, their count was going to work out perfectly, open up the boxes and reseal them, which they could certainly do. Because I asked Eric Sample if I could, who works with Tim at Multnomah County Elections, if I could have a tour of the facilities while they were doing the recount on the 7th of December. And this is what I found. And I've posted this on YouTube, and I'd be happy to send you things. See all those boxes? See how they're open? See how the ballots are just falling right out of there? This is on the loading dock in the basement of Multnomah County Elections. Okay? And I'm supposed to be secure with that my candidate's getting an accurate recount of her ballots upstairs while there's all these boxes full of open boxes full of ballots, blank ballots, that the day they had from Thursday until Tuesday to do whatever they want. And from the ballot, the entry and exit logs, it shows there was a lot of activity in the secure ballot room. They had already certified the ballot. There was no need for them to go into the red room and do any sort of preparation or fix anything or look at anything. They had already certified it. All the ballots had been counted. They'd been certified. There was no need for that. But yet, there was, like I said, lots of activity. Then roadblock after roadblock. Once we sent a photographer in to take the pictures that she took. Well, I don't have a picture of that one. We have it. They put out, Eric was nice enough to bring out all the ballot precinct boxes that we were going to be recounting. We wanted to photograph them. The reason we wanted to photograph them is because we wanted to make sure there was defining characteristics on those ballot boxes to make sure that come Tuesday, the same ballot boxes that we saw on Friday were the same ballot boxes the seal was being broken and was being recounted. Understandable. We are paying for this recount. It's at a great expense. We'd had to do an extra fundraising endeavor to do it. And we were horrified to find that there was no defining characteristics on it. Once we learned this, on Monday, we asked the Secretary of State's office and the Multnomah County Elections if we could exchange out like-sized precincts, since we had no chain of custody that we could feel confident with, and they refused to allow us to exchange out the precincts. We're not adding to it, we're just exchanging them out. They wouldn't even let us do that. Then we prevailed upon the Republican Party, the state Republican Party, who's the only other party that's eligible to call for recounts on behalf of Delia Lopez, and they were told by the elections that we couldn't keep these temporary workers there any longer by adding 2 more precincts that we could feel assured they had not messed with over the 4 days that they would not been there. And they were denied it. We asked if we could just add a couple of precincts, as Janice said. We're denied it. All of these things were denied. It was like roadblock after roadblock. If you have nothing to hide, you will hide nothing. If you are transparent, you have nothing to hide, you'll be transparent. There's no transparency in this. Now, Tim Scott's a great guy. I think they all seem like great people. Maybe nothing happened. But why, if nothing happened, why wouldn't they be more flexible with us? Why wouldn't they allow us the courtesy of having a proper chain of custody? And so please do not eliminate this requirement. Done.